All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jim Wendler, author and creator of 531, and welcome to Friday with Wendler. As always, if someone could give me a thumbs up in the comment sign or in the comment section of the chat or anything like that, and let me know if you can hear me and see me and all that other good stuff. All righty. All right. So I'm just going to wait around. We got our 2 music reviews as soon as I get the thumbs up, and then we are going to be good to go. Last night, my youngest son James had a football game. He played incredibly well. And then tonight, London is playing at home. And I'm super pumped, obviously, for that. So we will see how we do. We had a great game last week. Had a running clock. All right, there we go. Thank you, Stefan. All right, here we go. We got the 2 albums here. All right, number 1. This was released in, I made some notes here, I think 93. Is that what I wrote? All right, 93. This is not their most popular album, but this is my favorite one of theirs. It is the band Entombed, and the album is Wolverine Blues, released in 93. In fact, I purchased this while I was at the Air Force Academy. Obviously Entombed from Sweden. Legendary guitar sound. They use the HM2 pedals, as many of you know. But this was their first foray into what they call death and roll. So it's got a ton of groove, a lot of mid-pace, slower stuff. Not slow, but not a lot of blast beats. It definitely started kind of a new genre, and a lot of people didn't like this genre, I'll be honest. Someone loved the Left Hand Path and Clandestine albums, but to me, this is such an awesome training album too. It's got a ton of kind of groove going on. LJ Petrov, their singer's got a legendary voice. Absolutely love it. And there's only really one song on here that I don't really like. I'll be completely honest. So this is, 9 songs on here. And unbelievable. Unbelievable album. Thick guitar tones. Everything's crushing. The kind of the cool thing about Entombed is their drummer pretty much wrote most of the music. And he became the guitarist and singer for, I don't know, some of you guys follow kind of the rock genre, but he's in the band called the Helicopters, and I think he's a great drummer, great songwriter, everything. So Entombed, Wolverine Blues, highly recommended. The second album for the day is one of my all-time favorite albums. This came out in 1998. Again, it's in the death metal genre, but not really what you would call typical death metal. The band is called Necrophagia. This is one of the very first death metal bands ever. And the album's called Holocausto de la Muerte. I'll move my finger there. There you go. The cool thing about this is they started off, and I think, late 80s, mid 80s, 87, I think their first album came out. This one came out in 98. I think they released another one in 1990, and then they kind of went defunct. The singer for Necrophagia, incredibly weird, sick vocal style. Gets a phone call from Phil Anselmo from Pantera. He's a huge Necrophagia fan. Phil Anselmo then plays guitars on this album under the name Anton Crowley. For whatever reason, he couldn't get released, so to speak, from his record label to use his real album on here. So I am telling you, this album is so effing sick, it's unbelievable. It has Killjoy's lyrics, mostly all gore and horror related. Killjoy the singer has a huge horror movie fan. And Phil Anselmo's riffs, some of them are very basic and some of them are totally out of left field. It's almost like because he's not a guitarist, he approaches the guitar a little differently. And I'd say some of this stuff, and you may disagree with me on this, is very much Black Flag, the Greg Ginn Angular stuff that's really out of left field. And then they went on to release with Phil as a guitarist 2 more EPs. And the one I love is called Black Blood Vomitorium. And to me, it's got one of the best songs ever written in any metal genre, called And You Will Live in Terror. If about the 2-minute, 30-second mark or so, one of the most killer breakdown riffs, sick stuff. I've listened to that song a million times. Both of these albums are constantly playing when I'm training. Easily the most listened to stuff in my collection, so to speak. The thing about Necrophagia, and obviously Entombed too, is there's no blast beats. They play fast, they play slow, and there's more mid-paced death metal. absolutely recommend all these things. And then I bought this when it came out. This is the Necrophagia VHS. They made a series of horror themed videos for that album, and not safe for work. You can find them on YouTube. Some of this really sick shit going on, but each video is like a little mini movie, and it's absolutely disgusting. Let's just put it that way. So I think Jim Van Beber, the famous director, directed those videos, and so it stars all the guys from Necrophagia, and just don't watch them if around your kids or around your boss. So anyway, as always, if you have a question, please ask in the chat, wherever that is on your TV, on your monitor, and let's go ahead and get started here. All right, Albert Wang says, hey, can compound exercises done 10 sets of 3 with short rest intervals improve conditioning? So this is how I look at this, Albert. When we use our training for young athletes, we do so especially with the people that I work with personally, because I can control a lot of different variables in there. All of our training is fairly quick in the weight room, as long as it's appropriate for that athlete, right? And I don't do that to improve their conditioning. I do it to improve their general physical preparedness, and that in turn will improve when they condition. If my main goal, Albert, is, again, you have to define conditioning. If I wanted to be in incredible cardiovascular shape, I would use a strength training exercises and stuff, but if you want to get in good condition, you're going to have to condition, if that makes sense. Just like you're not going to get stronger conditioning, all right? Doesn't mean that conditioning doesn't help your strength training, but again, whatever it's 10 sets of 3, or we use the Krypteia style training, yes, it improves your general physical preparedness, but if you want to get really good at conditioning, you're going to have to do some strict conditioning stuff, if that makes sense. So I hope that you understand that. And again, 10 sets of 3, I don't know why you chose that set and rep thing, because the set and reps, I'm not sure that matters too much. It's more about the the way you do the exercise, the rest periods and stuff like that. So anyway, I hope that helps, because remember, metabolic training that Nebraska made fairly popular, all their things were done for 3 sets of 10. So there's a lot of different ways you can do stuff. So just understand that. Siddharth says, morning, Dusty. Just for everyone that knows my shock jock radio name, early morning radio. Ugh, there's nothing worse than early morning radio. Is Dusty Labia. Anyway, so he says, good morning, Dusty. Here we go. Is the Krypteia program that you use in your gym the Redux version, where assistance is only supersetted with the supplemental? I had stellar progress on the program before, slow and steady, without being run into the ground. So, of course, I changed what I was doing and everything imploded. Still holding out, someday that I'll learn. All right. First of all, man, don't feel bad about fucking everything up, even though things are going good. People do it all the time in training. They do it in their relationships. They do it at work, all that stuff. So don't feel bad. I've done it a million times. I do it as a coach. I have to constantly stop myself from being an idiot. So don't feel bad about that, but I totally get it. So the Krypteia style training that I do in my own garage is the original Krypteia program. Honestly, I think that's much harder, because as we start getting heavier, as we start working up, and obviously we may do some jokers, because everything we do on there is auto-regulated. It sucks, all right? Because if you're feeling good and the bar weight's going up, we're still training the assistants hard in between. I want that to suck. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If, as you have shown, you have felt awesome and you've made great progress and you felt great doing the Redux style, do it. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Only worried about what your training has told you, what your reality is. So don't just do it because I don't do it, okay? So just please understand that. Please understand it. And I'll be honest, it's much easier to do the Redux program or training when you're by yourself, because you don't have to change a lot of the weights on the barbell, right? That's one of the main reasons why I did the redux with some of our kids that we train at the gym, because it gets too confusing. So I totally get that. When I'm in the garage training kids, I'm helping to change the weights. It goes much, much quicker that way. So just so you understand, the Redux program was built out of necessity and reality. It wasn't built because I was trying to do something different. It was, man, we have 3 or 4 kids in the rack. It starts getting confusing. If anyone's worked with a lot of kids at one time, changing weights in between sets when done on a timer can get out of hand. So just understand that. But again, trust what has worked for you, okay? Super important you understand that. And I appreciate it, you calling me Dusty, by the way. All right, Chad Nassi. I hope I pronounced that right, Chad. He says, good morning, Wendler. Well, good morning, Chad. Okay, he writes, let's say you were handed the keys to a top college football team strength program and couldn't opt out, right? You know me too well. What changes, if any, would you make from what you're doing now with London? Oh, boy. All right, so the number one thing I'm going to tell you, this is 1,000% I would do, is I would hire really good assistants. I mean, the best people I could find. I would try to pay I would take money out of my salary to make sure that they were taken care of 100%, because you're only going to get as far as your assistants. Because even if we trained in 3, 4, or 5 different groups, there's still a lot of athletes in there, and I would want each coach to have a group of athletes that they work with personally every time they come in there. That's very similar to what we did at the University of Kentucky, and I think that's awesome, okay? Because you get to know that, group of athletes. So every time, on Monday, you get the same 5 athletes at 9 a.m. or whatever the first group is, or whatever, just so you understand. So that would be number one. I'd make sure I would have a speed guy, because I'm not very good at that stuff. I would definitely do that. I'd make sure I would hire guys that understood how to auto-regulate and understand just the basics of what I'm trying to do. I would very good coaches in terms of getting the kids believing in them and being great leaders. I think that is massively overlooked. Everyone looks at the programming and all the gadgets. None of that shit matters if that coach can't lead. All right, that's one of the number one things people fuck up about coaching, is they think, we're doing 4 sets of 4, or we doing 3 sets of 5, or whatever. That shit doesn't matter if no one's going to listen to you and if you can't lead. So that would be number one. Number two is, like, from a I would say from a training point of view, we would auto-regulate more on a daily basis. Again, that's because I have good assistants. I love doing that when I work with people personally, because when we have good days, man, we're having tremendous days. We're setting PRs. When we're having bad days, you can make smart decisions and back off. So that would be the first thing. We would we'd have a base style of training, auto-regulation. The other thing is, I would be able to do more sled and med ball work. I think that's super important. We don't have access. I mean, we have prowlers, but you got to walk all the way down. You got to set everything up, get them out of the cages. It's a huge pain in the ass. And we don't have anywhere to throw med balls in. So that kind of stuff I would do. But the same idea, Chad, would be like, listen, we're just going to raise their general physical preparedness. We're going to get them a little stronger. We're going to put muscle on them. And the other thing that I would do differently than other colleges, and again, this is hard to do if you're a college strength coach, because the head coach is the deciding factor. You essentially work for that head coach. It's his team. I would not do any of the idiotic, fucking stupider than shit winter conditioning crap. I think that is the worst thing in the world. I think you're screwing your athletes out of much needed strength and hypertrophy work, and you can still do all that and still be in great shape. So that's the other thing. That's the one thing I would do differently. Now, whether or not I have a head coach that wants to believe in that, the answer is probably you got a 1% chance. But all that stupid morning stuff that college athletes do, and I could go on and on about why I think that's a really bad idea. I'm not going to bore everyone because no one really cares, but I think it's a horrible idea. So anyway, I hope that answers your question, Chad. And Chad asks another question. He says, do you think all of the template hopping and modifications of 5 through 1 that you get asked about is just an avoidance strategy of the max rep set or doing boring but big and 10 to 15 minutes of conditioning done for a few years could probably, if you did this for a few years, could probably answer 99% of people's questions and help get them to where they say they want to be. I don't know, it could be just me romanticizing about the earlier days. Best of luck tonight. Thank you, Chad. Listen, man, I'm sure, first of all, Fridays are nerve-wracking for me. I am terrified that I did a shitty job. I want our kids to do well. I know how hard they work. Last night with James, I'm an absolute wreck. I don't scream and yell, but inside, man, there's a just tremendous amount of fear and anxiety. I just want my son to do well. And it's not that I want him to like have the greatest game. I want him to just, my main thing is just great effort and a great attitude. Just how I am as a dad. So, okay, so do you think that all the template hopping and modifications is avoidance? I think people do avoid the PR sets and some of that stuff. I think, listen, I don't know all of this for sure, but I know a lot of people get anxiety when they do that, and I don't understand that because to me it's like exciting. So, but everyone's going to be a little different. I'll be honest, I don't think boring but big is really good for a lot of people, especially for like the deadlift. I think some people can get a ton out of it. I think simplicity, I think it's awesome. But I don't know if it's needed for everyone. I think the most important thing is you learn how to push the barbell fast, you learn how to push the sets hard, and you learn how to train your assistants hard. I think people sandbag the assistants. I see what our kids do in 12 to 15 minutes, and I watch them. They get so much done in that time. They work so quickly, and it's taken time for their GPP to be at that point, their work capacity, but it's unbelievable how much work those kids get done. And I don't know if people understand how hard some of that stuff is. You know, I watch people, I go to a local gym here and do some like rehab stuff. Man, people do a set and just hang out for like 5 minutes, and they do another set. It's crazy to me that people train so slow. I don't know if that's how everyone trains, but I think that's a horrible thing. I don't know. I don't know why you even train if you're not going to train, at least a little hard. So, but whatever. Not everyone's like that. I get that. So, but anyway, I also think that each program is going to draw certain people based on what that program has asked people to do. So I think one of the things about the 5-3-1 program, if you're kind of aggressive and you're very driven and competitive, I think the program works very well because you kind of rise up to that challenge. If you don't have that stoked in you or need to develop it, I mean, it could be great or you could hate it too. So, I mean, there's a lot of programs I see that have gotten rave reviews and people have used for, to get great totals and powerlifting and stuff like that. I would never do the program in a million years. Like, I don't know, I could never train like bodybuilding style. I'd bore the hell out of me. So anyway, I don't know if that really answers your question. But yes, I think there is some kind of, like at some point, man, like you got to put the stake in the ground and just fucking train hard and just say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this work. As long as it's rooted in some common sense, Chad, I think it can answer a lot of questions. It doesn't have to be exactly the 5-3-1 program or anything like that, but I think people can get a lot more out of stuff. They stop thinking so much, man. Stop thinking so much. Doesn't mean you can't train smart, but my God, people get wrapped up in their heads. And part of me, like I used to be like that when I was younger. And I look back now, I'm like, why was I wrapped up in my head? I didn't know anything. And one of the best things I learned, I just trained hard all the time. So at least I tried to. All right, Stephen Willie. My very first girlfriend was Sarah Willie. So, I don't know. Are you related to Sarah Willie? I don't know. Oh, she is pretty. Still very pretty. At least I haven't seen Sarah in 35 years. I don't know, since I was probably... She didn't go to the same high school I went to. But anyway, Stefan says... Sarah with an H. Still remember that. Stefan says, hey, Jim, thank you very much for Boring But Big and for doing this live stream. Well, thank you for reminding me of Sarah. My wife will love you. Watching the last streams cleared some things up in my head. I am 41 years old and doing Boring But Big. All right, here's a couple questions from Stefan. Do I need to do normal squats or can I completely switch to box squats? Always thought that they were beginner squats until you mentioned them. Okay, so let's answer this one by one. Do I need to do normal squats or can I completely switch to box squats? You can completely switch to box squats. The only thing I will tell you, Stefan, I love box squats. I think box squats for a lot of people, if they do them correctly, and I think if you do them a little above parallel, I think are way better for a lot of people. I'll be completely honest. I wish I would have done that 100% of the time once I stopped powerlifting, just done that. Doing Boring But Big with box squats, if you do them correctly, man, those sets take a long time. So personally, I would probably do sets of 5 on the box squat for your Boring But Big work, which it technically isn't Boring But Big. But that would be just me. Doesn't mean you can't occasionally do sets of 10, or maybe if you want to do sets of 10, just do 3 sets. Because, again, a set of 10 regular squats and a set of 10 box squats, very different. So doesn't mean you can't do them, just understand that's probably what I would recommend. All right, here we go. Stefan says, hey, Boring But Big, the 5 sets of 10 work can be understood as 5 sets of any weight close to failure. Did I get that right? I would probably not recommend that, especially in the beginning. I would much rather see you do 5 sets of 10 at a weight that you're able to complete in like 10 to 12 minutes, which I know is very quick, but I'd rather, like when we work with kids, when I work with athletes and stuff and we do higher rep supplemental work, I will always lower the weight before I lower the reps early on in the training. We just try to get, the reps are what's important within the time frame. So if that means we're taking a ton of weight off, so who cares? Do not care. So I would rather see you do the 5 sets of 10 to 12 minutes or so, or if you're going to, and then once you get in really good shape, you alternate the Boring But Big barbell work with some kind of assistance lift. So you're, going boop, 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 just supersetting, and you try to finish again in 10 to 12 minutes. That's when your conditioning and your general physical preparedness, not conditioning, your fitness level is the best way to say it, really starts to rise and you start putting some muscle on. So the answer to your question is no, it doesn't have to be just close to failure. I'd rather see you do it in a certain time period and obviously each set done correctly. And number 3, how would you train? Oh, I just lost my place. This thing is very touchy. Okay. How would you train if you do also a weight restricted sport, surfing? Thank you again. Much love from north of Germany. So how would I train if you're also doing a weight restricted sport? I wouldn't probably do Boring But Big. I would probably do the main lift, 2 to 4 or 5 lifts of the assistance work, or the Krypteia style training. I would also, the most important thing in there is you're not in any danger of being 400 pounds of muscle. Just understand that, because the number one thing I think you need to understand is, yes, you should put on some muscle. You're not going to turn into a bodybuilder, but you're going to have to watch what you eat. And that's where the changes, or you want to stay about the same weight with your body weight. That's where you're going to have to really be cognizant of what you're doing. So I don't know if the training would matter as much as the diet. There you go. That's the most important thing I guess I can say about that. But I would probably take out the Boring But Big, especially for the squats and the deadlifts, and do more assistance work, just normal assistance work for the upper and lower body. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Let me know if you need any more particulars. But again, cut out the Boring But Big, main lift, 2, 4, 5 sets, exercises of assistance work, I should say, and go from there. And then watch what you eat. Tyler Drink. Buenos dias, El Jefe. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate it. Richard Quintero says, hey, greetings. Happy Friday. Okay. Thank you. I can't do deadlifts right now due to knee problems, but I can do straight leg deadlifts. Is it possible to do the substitution in 5-3-1? Yes. What I would probably do, though, is I would do mostly straight leg deadlift for sets of 10. I would do 10s pro, right? Just like 5s pro, adjust your training max to what you need it to be. I think straight leg deadlifts work a little bit better with the higher reps because once weights get heavy, everyone knows this, in the straight leg deadlift, you start bending your knees and deadlifting weight up instead of using a strict straight leg deadlift. And I probably wouldn't honestly go terribly heavy, so those last couple reps are like bananas heavy. So I probably wouldn't do PR sets either, or AMRAP sets or anything like that, unless you wanted a test occasionally. So that's what I would probably do. So 10s Pro for the straight leg deadlift. Make sure you're able to do all the sets and reps with terrific straight leg deadlift form. There you go. I've done it before with straight leg deadlifts. In fact, what I did with straight leg deadlifts, I just used my bench. I think it was bench press. I used my bench press numbers. Is that what I did? I don't remember. I used either either bench or press numbers for my straight leg deadlift numbers, but I did sets of 10. So if my lifts was, the sets were, 200, 225, 250, I would do straight leg deadlifts with 200, 225, and 250. So I can't remember if it's bench or press what I did. It doesn't really matter. Just choose one that's best for you. And what is the difference between PR sets and AMRAP sets on your 5-3-1 program? The big difference is when you do a PR set, if your old record was 6, you try to get 7, and we generally stop there, even if you feel like you can get a lot more. AMRAP is, most people go to failure. I don't think that's the best thing. That's my fault. In the book, I try to say, listen, you should always leave about 1 or 2 reps in reserve. But once you get strong and start getting moving, I think personally, I only generally set 1 rep PRs. That's just me. That's usually what I do with the kids, unless it's like glaring that they can get more. But I never want to take the main sets to failure. And I don't do it with the kids. I don't work with the people. I do it with the people I work with personally, and I don't do it. This is me. This is where my weight room is, my garage. Just because the bad things can happen when you take those sets to failure. I'd rather see people. That doesn't mean the reps aren't hard. Let me just make that very clear. So the goal, again, the PR set is to do 1 more rep usually than what you did. But I don't want people getting hurt and doing dumb stuff. We like to take the assistant stuff sometimes to failure. So there you go. Lane Harden says, I mentally feel like I need to train every day. It makes me feel good, like a box has been checked. Is it better to have 6 to 7 medium days or 3 heavy days and 3 super light days? So if I were you, I'd rather, if you're going to train every day, I'd have 6 to 7 light days. So, low volume doesn't mean they have to be light barbell. So you would do, for example, bench and chin-ups, right, on one day. And then the next day you would maybe push the prowler. Next day you would do squats and dips, or squats and glute ham raises or something. The next day you might do rope climbing. I'm just making shit up here. Next day you would do press and rows. And then the next day you would do farmer's walk or something. I don't know, just making stuff up. But I would rather have basically 20 to 30 minute workouts. And you can get a lot done. Dude, the amount of shit we get done in 20 minutes in the garage is unbelievable. The amount of work we get done. So you don't have to spend all day. That's what I would probably recommend. But I wouldn't be lifting every day. At least traditional barbell stuff. No way. There's so much other awesome shit you can be doing for your body other than just doing this. Burp, burp, burp. You got to get better. Increase your abilities, your physical abilities. That's how you're going to get better as a human being. Zachary Russell says, good morning, Jim. JW. All right. I only have access to a 25-pound medicine ball. Is it worth it to throw? Is it worth it to throw with that as opposed to a 10-pound ball you recommend? 10, 12, 15, anywhere in there. Is it worth it? As long as you can throw it and not get hurt and you can still do it explosively, yeah. You might not be able to do all the throws that I recommend. That I don't know what your strength level is. But yeah, go ahead and give it a shot, but make sure you're warmed up. One of the good things about having 10, 12, and a 15-pound ball is you can start with the med ball throws, and I kind of half-assed in the beginning, just getting my body ready. I'm also 50 years old, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. And then you can kind of work up. So just make sure if you do have the 25-pound ball, Again, not every throw I don't think you probably should be doing, but make sure your body's warmed up because that is a heavy throw. So just keep that in mind. Patrick Baynard says, hey, Jim, I haven't been able to train for 4 weeks for a variety of reasons. Okay, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Can I resume training with the same training max I left off with? Yes. So what I would do is I would just do the 3x5 week, and I would do that and see how you feel. And if that top set, you just do a set of 5, it feels like I'm about where I was, you're good. If that second set starts to feel wonky, all right, just stop there, go back down, do some FSL work, all right, get your body, get some assistance, and keep on repeating that until you can get up to that top set and make it feel like it should feel. So you can try it, but again, if that second set on your 3x5 week feels horrible, just stop there, go back down, do 5 sets of 5, 5 sets of 8 with the first set last, get some good assistance in, and just test that for every single lift. 100% what I would do, I would drive up your fitness, and just you can test each lift by doing that. Okay, that's what I do. 100% what I do when I'm working with kids, when I'm working with athletes and stuff like that. I just watch every single set. Is this where I need them to be speed wise? Yes, fine, we'll be fine. If not, we are going to auto regulate. So there you go. Albert Paxton says, switching gears, who is your pick to win the college football national championship this year? Oh boy, I don't know. I'd have to look at a list of teams. I mean, Alabama stunk it up. I think it's going to be, if I had to choose 3 teams I think are going to contend, I don't think Penn State will. Penn State can't field a quarterback worth a damn. They might prove me wrong, but that's where quarterbacks go to die, that and Notre Dame. And I'm not like a hater of those teams. They just can't seem to get their shit together with a quarterback. If I had to choose, I guess, 3 teams, it would be Georgia. Watched Georgia play. They always play good defense, and their quarterback seems to be, he's a first-time starter, right? So, and then Ohio State, as long as they can run the ball, which sometimes they have trouble, and Oregon. I think what Dan Lanning has done, he has changed that culture at Oregon, man. Yeah, I'm a big fan of watching them play. So those 3 teams, but man, if I had to choose, everything is just so crazy with college. You never know what you're going to get. You saw what happened to Alabama against Florida State, and that's just crazy to me how quickly things go awry if you don't constantly tend to the culture. So it is unbelievable. And I've said this for years. It takes years and years. And we've done this at London. We have a culture. It takes a lot of work to keep that culture. People don't understand. It just doesn't happen. Like once you start winning games, you have to make sure you're pulling the weeds, you're watering, you're pulling the weeds all day, every day. And if you let off the gas a little bit, everything just goes, and it's unbelievable. So Joe King says, hey, Jim, are principles behind 5-3-1 more important than the programs in your books? I've used your principles like start light, progress slow, balance, etc. on other splits and programs with success. The answer is, for some people, yes. For other people, they just need to do the program and make sure they understand and follow the principles, if that makes sense. But like when we did the metabolic style training with some of the athletes, in the garage, I use the same 5-3-1 principles within that program. So I hope that makes sense. So I think once you understand the principles, now again, you can have your own. I do not care. I don't have an ego about that. But whenever I'm training someone, if they wanted to, for whatever reason they wanted to train X, Y, and Z, I would apply those same principles, 100%. So, and I'm telling you, like a lot of things open up in your head and understanding training if you follow principles. So, Joey Waters, my good friend Joey, says blast beats are the 225 rep test of the metal world. Yeah, they're needed at times, but zero indication of the quality of the band. You're exactly right. Sometimes they're needed, but oh my God, does it get tiresome. Especially since, I don't know, a lot of bands have done it a lot better. And sometimes I just feel like it's a cop-out. I totally agree. Okay, it says, hey, Jim, what do you think about heavy, strict curls? I don't really think about them. If you want to do them, I think they're awesome. I think curls are an important part of any training program. I don't know if you need to go bananas like some people. Honestly, I'd rather see people do heavy curls with a little bit of a cheat. I think that seems to work a little better because everyone I know who's got like ridiculously giant arms, I watch them curl with a barbell, and they're not just standing there doing this. They're fucking using some, not like a curl, or I'm sorry, not like a power clean hip drive, but they're popping that weight up a little bit. And listen, that's just the truth. I don't care. You can put your back against the wall and your elbows, but you ain't going to get giant arms. At least most people won't. So I'd rather see you do slightly cheat curls. How's that sound? And then get real strong at pull-ups and rows too. That'll help. Matthew Julian says, hey, Jim, how would you structure a 3-time week training if my main lifts are trap bar, bench, and weighted chin-ups? Some sort of push, pull. Okay. So this is what I would do. That style of training, Matthew, is exactly how DeFranco sets up his training. So you would bench on Monday, trap bar on Wednesday, and weighted chin on Friday. Okay, I'll repeat that. Bench on Monday, trap bar on Wednesday, weighted chin up on Friday. Of course, you can switch the Mondays and Fridays if you want. I do that a lot of times with Zach. We bench on Monday. We will do our box squats on Wednesday, and then we will do a crazy weighted chin workout on Cryptea style. We used it with Cryptea, believe it or not, with weighted chins. And we've gotten really good results. So yes, 100%. And then yes, you can do that kind of assistance if you want, Matthew, or you can do like upper lower assistance if that's what you like to do. All right, just so you understand. The only thing is just make sure you're getting some ab and low back work in there. And obviously I would probably get some rowing in there, and if you can, try to get at least some assistance with the overhead press if you can do it, so you get that motion in. So yeah, you're good to go. Joshua Hawk says, good morning, boss. Thank you, Josh. I love being called boss. And I know I had to ask to be called boss, but it wouldn't kill people outside of our little world here to start calling me boss. Like one of the kids, it'd be the least they could do. He writes, does Joshua, good morning. How's the football season going? It's going well. We still have to iron out a lot of shit. I don't know what we won. We won by like 40 or some odd points on last Friday. And we haven't even, and I know everyone says this, but we haven't even come close to playing what I think is our potential. So, we make some mistakes and stuff like that. But we are a good team this year. I don't know if we're going to be as good as our last year's team because that was crazy. For those that don't know, we made it to the Final Four in Ohio last year. But a lot of things have to go right to do that. Obviously, you make your own luck, but as anyone who has won at a very high level, you need some of the roles to go your way. So we will see. Zach Russell says, one more if I may. How would you train to PR a PL strict curl? What's a PL strict curl? I don't know. I don't get powerlifting strict curl or something. I don't know. There's no such thing as a powerlifting strict curl, but I don't know why I said that. How would I train, man? Zach, I have no idea, buddy. I should have done more curls in my day. I'll be completely honest. So I don't know how they train. I would make sure that my arms, were conditioned enough, so I probably hit some higher rep sets because I'm not used to it. I don't know how they do strict curls. I don't know if this is for I don't know if they I assume they use a straight bar. It would make sense. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I just do curls more, I guess, and figure it out, but I don't know. I could just see myself tearing a bicep doing that. So, again, Zach, I have no real insight into that. I would also make sure my forearms were stronger and shit too. I'll tell you that much. Because just being able to hold your wrist in that position to curl, I think would make a huge difference. So I apologize, Zach. I don't have too much insight into that. All right, Craig O'Connell says, what is the prescription for a dumb leg exercise for a garage basement lifter? that has a prowler. Also, is Blade Runner 2049 the best movie of all time? Yes or yes? I haven't even seen that movie. I'll be completely honest. I don't know. Sometimes I just not in the mood to see certain movies, and that doesn't mean I don't want to see them. It just I'm always so tired at the end of the day. Most of my movies I watch now have to be like just kind of stupid. Occasionally, like we watched Warfare the other night. Well, a couple 6 weeks ago, and that's not exactly something you just sit down and watch. But anyway, what is so if you have a prowler? So what I generally do is I don't know how good a shape you are in, Craig. I know it's gonna. So what I do with the prowler, I'll just give you an example with the prowler, is I started with just a half mile and I put on the lightest weight that I thought I could handle. And I think I put a 25 on each side. It wasn't very hard. And then I put on a 45 and I just did that. Usually I think I did it maybe 2 or 3 times a week for like a month. So it wasn't horrible. I just got my body used to how it felt. I got my body used to the route, so to speak, and where the harder parts are. Because if you've ever pushed on a long street, there's parts that stick, whatever. I just kind of got used to it, got in better shape. And then once a week, I would load that thing up with either 245s or 245s and a 25, and I would just go a half mile. Now, the other thing you could do is do a mile with the weight you usually use for a half mile, but that, I don't know. I'd rather just do a half mile incredibly heavy. And then after that, Craig, what I do is I just occasionally, again, I mostly stick to the lighter, so 45, 45, 25. And then every 2 weeks or so, on a Saturday, you wake up and you know this is the only thing I got going on today, so to speak, like training-wise. Make sure you're kind of warmed up and you just go stupid. If it takes you an hour to complete, so be it. The other thing that you could do if you're a garage or basement lifter, there's a couple other things I've done, is you don't either weight vest or no weight vest, is do a quarter or a half mile of lunges, which is miserable. If you've never done that, just do a quarter mile to start with. You are going to be horribly sore. And just start with your body weight. It doesn't have to be all at one time. What I did was I would lunge for, I think, 100 meters, and I would put my water bottle down where I stopped, or, whatever, about 100 meters. It doesn't have to be perfect. Catch my breath a little bit, and then start where my water bottle was. That's how I marked off where I stopped and started, so to speak. The other thing you can do is put on a semi-heavy weight vest. So let's just say 45 pounds, 65 pounds, and do like 300 or 400 squats. And then you can break that up however you want. But that is absolute misery. And I think that, Craig, you will understand it's not going to have a direct effect to your squats and deadlifts right away. But I think having that leg capacity, I think, is super important. It is super important for not just lifting, but for everything that you do. And I got a shirt the other day that said, on the back, it said, "Legs feed the wolf." And I love that. And so that's one of the, even with my bad back, I never not do my idiotic prowler stuff, my sled stuff, and my stair and hill stuff. I still do all that, even though like I'm in horrible pain all the time, because I don't want to lose that ability, because when your legs get weak, you get old. And I don't know how else better to say that. So I obviously don't barbell squat anymore, but I do so much dumb leg shit that I still have very strong legs, and that even when I'm injured, I'm still able to do a lot of stuff because my legs are so strong. So there you go, man. I hope things are good, Craig. I appreciate you, buddy. And I mean that 100%. Stephen C says, "Hey Jim, do you track your calorie, macros, and water intake on a daily basis?" The answer is no. Or just listen to your body. I'm struggling getting off the MyFitnessPal app. Thanks for doing these. Now listen, Stephen, just because I don't, probably not the smartest thing for you, okay? So if that helps you, Stephen, 100% fucking do it, all right? Use the tools that you have at your disposal, provided that you're gonna use the tools, right? It's like buying a prowler or a treadmill or whatever. If you're not gonna use it, it doesn't fucking matter. So if you're able to use it and you're good to go, use it. I mean, I'm a little bit older now. I'm not training to bench 500 pounds anymore. So I try just to eat less all the time. Like yesterday, I ate at like 11:30, and I didn't eat again until 9 p.m. We had so much shit going on during the day and at night, so to speak. Well, not late, but you guys know what I'm saying. I just didn't eat, and I'm fine with that. It's fine. I don't necessarily think that's the best thing all the time. Then if I was going to track anything, Steven, if I was like, listen, I'm going to try, like I'm going to have hopefully shoulder surgery in a few months here. If my shoulder feels good and I want to like bench 300 pounds again or something, what I would do is I would track my protein and just say, listen, I have to get, I don't know, whatever protein number I think is great. And I would try to get that in and then just be smart about my carb intake. So that's what I would personally do. But again, Steven, if you use, what's it called? MyFitnessPal. Never heard of it, but sounds like it's awesome. I don't know. What the fuck do I know? Dude, I have like one app on my phone. Some lady put it on. It's for that Uber. Long story short, but I was traveling. I needed a ride. I fucked up. That was my thing. And she helped me do all this stuff and get an Uber app. That's about the extent of my apps on my phone. Oh, I got Instagram too for posting shit. Anyway, if you use it, Steven, and it works, use it. Don't try to be all Neanderthal just to be Neanderthal, all right? I don't, like, listen, there's a lot of things I don't use. That doesn't mean it's the right thing, all right? It doesn't mean it's right, so. Matt says, testing maxes for 5-1 and just hurt a tendon in my right forearm. It's not as bad as it was years ago, but I'm not able to deadlift, curl, or any pulling movements at the moment without a lot of pain. What do you recommend I do? Still do bench and squat while I wait on it to fully heal? Yeah, well, what else are you going to do, Matt? Right? So if I were you, I would bench on Monday, squat on Wednesday, and do another bench workout or a press workout, but something different, right? So take your FSL work, for example, on Friday and just like, listen, I got 20 minutes. I'm going to do as many reps as possible of this and chin-ups. Or like any way possible, I'm going to get 100 reps. I'm going to switch my grips every single set, close, medium, wide, close, medium, wide. Just have fun, do some different stuff with that. There's a million things you can do. That's what I would do. And the other thing is, man, you're not able to do all this stuff. Do something like me and Craig were talking about. Craig, I know you didn't talk to me, but we'll just pretend we talked. Do something stupid for your legs. You know what I'm saying? So if you got access, do some quarter-mile lunges on Saturday or something. Challenge yourself in another way. It's not a big deal, man. Listen, think about this. You can squat, you can press, you can bench, you can do dips, push-ups, and you can do a ton of high-volume, stupid leg work and get awesome. So you'll be definitely good to go. Give your body a break, man. Let it heal. And in turn, instead of looking at this as a way of like a demotion or something negative, use it as a positive. Like, listen, this is going to give me the opportunity to test my legs and my lungs in such a way and to see what I can handle bench-wise and well, you can't do pull-ups. I just fucked that up. In fact, I'll just get really good at the bench. Or another thing you can do on FSL day, like on Friday, you're like, listen, I got to get 50 reps of my FSL work and I superset and I have to get 100 push-ups in between. Man, you talk about a smoke session. It's not the smartest thing in the world, but who gives a shit? Stop being so smart, guys. Start going ham loaf. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oh, boy. All right, here we go. Tyler Drake says, my leg day is now abs, back, obliques. Then sled work, then incline treadmill. Woo! I found those treadmill challenges on your site. They're awesome. Yep. All those things suck, man. Those things suck. That's great, man. Tyler, listen, like your legs however you got to get them strong, that's awesome. If you look at my YouTube page, I think it's still there. There's like some place you can put a quote. I put a quote from the book called War by Sebastian Junger about strength, about carrying shit with your legs and climbing up hills. Love that quote. Don't feel bad if you can't do stuff, but find a way around it, man. And I'm telling you, we call it legs feed the wolf, right? Legs and lungs, man, make you a better human being all around, no matter what you're doing, whether or not you're a football player or just want to be a dude. Legs and lungs will always serve you well. And then, man, if you really want to get specific, fucking just get yoked up top, Legs and lung go crazy on the bottom. Oh boy. Vincent says, hey, how's the back, boss? We'll talk later. Not good. What are you going to do? So I'll talk to you about the treadmill thing. It was not a good experiment. We're talking about treadmill. I lasted about 5 minutes. It's just bad news. So here we go. I keep on losing my spot. That's my King Diamond voice, huh? Does that sound about like King Diamond? Vincent says, hey, thanks for the concept of playing more. After training, I'll do some walrus or implementing strongman training or some extra hypertrophy or grip work. Building a wild base of general physical preparedness and having fun with variety. Like one of the things I do when I go in the weight room now, and before I do something, I'll just do some grippers, 50 on each side. And listen, I'm not looking to close like the number 30 or whatever people do. I don't care. I'm just going to squeeze a gripper, have some fun. I still do my rope work with the sled. That sucks. If you ever want, whenever you do, like I have my rope is, I don't know, 115 feet or something. We attach it to a sled. It's about this big. You can't get your hand around that thing. At least I got small hands. But anyway, the first set, oh yeah, all day. And I believe I counted, it depends on how heavy the sled is, but it's usually like 60 or so. So 1, 2, 3, 4, it takes about 60. But third, fourth, fifth set, man, your arms start going numb. You start getting the palsy, where you're just, oh. And I love doing it with Zach, a kid I work with. We'll do it some days, especially when we just need like kind of a day of rest, so to speak. So we'll just go out there and have some fun. And we always be like, listen, we'll load up with a heavier weight than we've used. And like, listen, whatever you do, you can't stop. Even if you're just doing this. And it's just, oh my God, it's miserable. And it's not, listen, I know I'm not like at Auschwitz or anything. Whatever. Fucking lay off. Stop it. It's just fun to be like that. Just everything fucking turning black. It's awesome. So, oh man, I love training hard and doing dumb shit. Jeff Chin says, but I appreciate you, Vincent. All right, we'll talk later or we'll text later. You know how I am. Jeff Chin says, you need to make a boss shirt. Make it say boss and maybe outline a beard hat and glasses on it. Yeah. So I'm telling you right now, I would pay 30 grand cash if someone could just instantly put hair on my head and like it would never leave. Like, oh my God, I wish I had hair. I don't know why. I just thought about that. It'd be nice. But thanks that's a good suggestion, man. Boss. I'm boss of nothing. My mom's like, my mom used to say shit to me all the time. Oh, what would she say? Like, yeah, you're the boss of your pants, maybe. That's about all you got. Thanks, Mom. Jesse Driscoll says, hey, Jim, what do you think it takes as a father to raise a son from a boy into a man? Whew. What life lessons do they need to know? Man, this is kind of, I'd have to think about this one. Listen, I think the number one thing I think is hard is you can't be your kid's friend. That doesn't mean you can't be friendly. It doesn't mean you have to be a dick. But I think you have to have certain standards, and they will fight you with those standards. They will test you with those standards and discipline and stuff like that. But we just have non-negotiables in this house. For example, during the summertime, every single day, James has to do a lesson in math. He kind of struggled with math, a little bit here and there. We didn't like where he was. So instead of taking the summer off, every fucking day he's got to do math. And oh my God, was it a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass. The same thing with training. Every day you got to do something. It doesn't mean you're bench pressing every day or squatting. We are doing something physical. If that means we're going to run hills, if that means you got boxing. So I think you need to have non-negotiable standards and discipline to get there, because I am telling you though, as hard as the math was to James, it is as hard as a parent to do that every single fucking day, to put down his complaining and his bitching and stuff like that and not give in, because it's much easier to give in as a parent than to get them to do the shit that they needed to do. And the other thing is, man, you have to set a good standard for morals and stuff like that. Yes, I swear all the time. Yes, I have some fucked up tattoos, but there is a standard of morals that you have to live by and you have to expect your kid to live by. And to me, that's 100% non-negotiable. The other thing is, and I'm just picking this shit out of my ass as we speak, is, man, we make sure who he hangs out with is good. If not, they're fucking gone. I don't care. If they got shit parents and their kids are raised shitty, sorry, not going to happen. No way, no how. I'm not, and especially at the junior high age, I've talked to this with a lot of different coaches and teachers and parents. At junior high age, man, you can go left or right. And a lot of kids who go left and go, the screwed up, effed up path, they're never going to recover. Or if they do, it's going to be a long time. So, and the other thing is just, man, teach them lessons. And it doesn't have to be like calculus. It's, if we talked about World War II, if that comes up and we talk about that, if it talks about, mowing a lawn, how to make the line straight and what to do, how you should overlap and not, stupid stuff like the kids need to know. You need to pass this shit on. And the other thing is, and I think my parents did a really good job, is they raise separate people. And I see that, like, your kids are not you. All right. That doesn't mean you don't pass on all these lessons and stuff. But if, I would love for James to absolutely love football and training and stuff like that, but he doesn't. He hasn't really, he enjoys it and stuff, but he doesn't love it like me. That's fine. He doesn't have to. He's his own separate human being. And I cannot thwart his path because it's not me. And I see way too many people like let your kids be their own people. What that means, it may not be exactly what you have in mind, but they have to find their own path and they have to develop as a separate human being. So I wish more people would do that. Again, it's honestly, it's not my fucking business. I don't know. I don't really care too much. I'll be honest. People do whatever they want. I got enough shit to deal with. Mason's 21, and that's a tough time to be a young man. From 18 to 28 is very difficult. You're still finding your way. You got no clout, right? Your career is at the bottom, if anything. You just got no money, all that shit. It's very difficult for a young man at that age. I was thinking about doing a list of things. If you're between 18 and 28 or something, listen, life is going to stink because you've got nothing. You can't, you don't have the nice car or the great job, or you don't have all the money. But here's a list of 5 things you need to do to make sure that you're on the path and you don't get thwarted. But anyway, here we go. I apologize. Osiris says, "What's up, boss? Sharing something stupid for next week." Oh boy. Memory workout from a buddy's brother. 29 reps of a bunch of stuff, but finishes with, oh shit, dude. Half-mile bear crawl. Oh, thought you'd appreciate that. Oh my Lord. I assume you're turning 29. That's the 29 reps of a bunch of stuff. But a half-mile bear crawl would be absolutely miserable. The only thing I'd tell you is make sure you wear some kind of glove. And the other thing I would do, 100%, I'd wear knee sleeves. So when your arms and shit give out, your knees don't get too scuffed up. Or wear skateboard knee pads. I don't know. You see guys in combat, they have those pants that have the knee pads kind of built in. I always thought those looked cool. You could totally slide down a half pipe, woo, in your full BDUs. Anyway, sounds absolutely horrible, dude. I'm so glad I'm not you, but congrats on if you pull that shit off. I don't know if you said you did or not. But anyway, good for you, buddy. Okay, Jeff Chin says, "I feel like you've talked about training shoes you've bought before. What training shoes have you liked?" So here's a couple shoes. Now, there's a ton of... The amount of great shoes out there is unbelievable. When I was growing up, it felt like you either had Nike, Adidas, Converse, or whatever. But man, there are some amazing companies. The shoes that I wear by far the most, like my everyday shoes and some of my training shoes, I always have a whole bunch, are called Victos. And that's V as in Victor, IKTOS. They have a nice wide toe box. I don't have wide feet, but for some reason, I think it feels pretty good. The other ones I really liked was Woobies. Woobies is like a way a million times better version of a Chuck Taylor with a lot more cushion and a lot more stability. You're not just flopping around, but it's got that nice flat sole. Absolutely love those shoes too. And I know there's I get a million things on my sent to me about those different shoes. So I'm sure there's a million other ones out there. But I love those shoes. I have Victos on right now. These are my training Victos. I have my everyday Victos. And anytime that company has a shoe sale, I buy 2 or 3 shoes. My wife went into my closet one time. She's like, "Oh my God, how many pairs of shoes do you have?" I know they fit perfect. I know what size to get. I like what colors I like. I don't care if they're on sale. I'm going to buy a ton of them. And I don't know anyone at Victos. No idea who they are. A couple years ago, they had some winter jackets that were very thin, incredibly warm. Best jacket. Unfortunately, I don't think they sell them anymore, at least not the ones I bought. Best like fall winter jacket I've ever purchased in my life. Besides like God, what do I have? I have a wool, what do you call those? Like the black jacket. You see them all the time in like Europe. And when I was in Ireland, everyone had them. Oh my God, they're wool jackets. But anyway, if you need a true winter jacket, get wool. Oh my God, it's amazing. All right, here we go. Big Easy says, "Hey Jim, do you have any experiences working with golfers? I'm knocking on 40. I have slowly shifted my goals from trying to get huge to more strength and fitness using golf as my sport." The answer is no. I don't know how many things would change other than just making sure you have a high fitness level, and I would just lose as much body fat as I possibly could. And I probably wouldn't chase weights, like I want to squat 500, but I wouldn't go out of my way to be weak as piss. I don't know how else to say it. So my training would be very quick, very Krypteia style, but I wouldn't push weights. I would just push the pace and the quality of the reps. And I don't know, I probably couldn't swing a golf club anymore with my shoulders and stuff like that, but I'd be very wary of doing too much shoulders and press work because that you get real tight in there. It's going to be hard to swing a golf club. And the other thing is, like if I trained a PGA golfer, I'd make sure his overall fitness levels were so high, so walking and doing any long drives, you'd have no problem. So I have I wouldn't do anything like golf specific or anything like that. We would just have a super variety level of fitness. And but man, make sure getting huge is not the best thing for that. All right, Rat says, "How do you fit stuff like front squats in a Good Mornings into a 5-3-1 program?" That's super easy. You use the front squats and Good Mornings as supplemental work. So for example, let's say you squat day, you do squats, and then you use front squats as supplemental work. Good Mornings, I guess they can be done as either supplemental or as assistance. Again, so you do deadlifts, and then you can do Good Mornings, or you could do squats and Good Mornings, or deadlifts and front squats. Both of anyone, you could fit them in there. But again, just fit it in as supplemental or assistance based on the set and rep ranges. Totally easy to do. Yeah, we talk about that in the 5-3-1 book, so just check that out. No problem. Oh, VCAF, I appreciate it, buddy. You don't need to send me that, but I 100% appreciate it. He says, "Hey, Jim, I do the advanced 5-3-1 with 5 sets of 5, 5, 3, 5. Okay, paired with boring but big. How often should I test my 1RM and is 80% training max too low?" How often should I test my 1RM? Unless you're powerlifting, I don't know. There's not much of a reason to do it unless you really want to do it. I personally wouldn't do it. That's just me. So I don't know, like at most 8 weeks, 12 weeks at the most often. But personally, if you're not powerlifting, I don't see much reason to do it. So that's just my personal opinion. If you're getting stronger and your reps are getting stronger, then you are getting stronger. 1RM, again, is a skill. It's not just how strong you got. So we got, young kids, we never test their RMs, 1RM, right? But we're always getting stronger because our rep maxes are going up and the way that they do the weights are going up. 80% training max, I don't know if it's too low. I'll be completely honest. I think that's fine. We use very low training maxes, but every lift, listen, is going to be a little different. We generally train our bench press a little heavier than we do train our squats and our deadlifts because the form gets compromised. I like to do higher rep sets on the squats and trap bar. Not everyone likes that, but it works better for us. we get stronger, we get better when we do that. Whether or not that's scientific or whatever you want to do that, but that's just what I think works really well for us. But I would say 80 to 85%, I think you'd be good. You'd be good. And I appreciate that calf. Oh man, I can't say anything. Oh boy, I just missed it. Here we go. All right, Zach says thanks. Appreciate Zach. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate it. All right, here we go. El Chuba Nibre says, hey Jim, going towards Cryptea Part 2, is it recommended to alternate between assistance work or should I do 10 sets of each? Example, 10 sets of dips in inverted row with squats. Alternate. Yes, I see what you're saying there. Yes, alternate. So you do 5 sets of dips and 5 sets of inverted rows. I hope that you understand that, right? So you're not doing 10 sets of dips. Yes, 5 sets of each in the Cryptea program. What supplemental work would you recommend for increasing strength on bench and deadlift? Supplemental work for the bench, I would do overhead press. I would do weighted push-ups, weighted dips, high reps, just getting, so 100%. This is supplemental work. This is not assistance work. So I would probably do those 3 things, and I would probably do, I'll do assistance work. Got to get some dumbbell work in there. So that's assistance, not supplemental. For deadlift, supplemental work, I don't know if I would maybe front squats or safety squat bar squats, just overall body strength. I would probably, depending on how strong you are, not depending, regardless of where you're at, you got to get some back raises or good mornings in, get that super strong, and not just strong, but conditioned, and tons of good ab work. That I think is non-negotiable. You got to have a strong back and strong abs. Again, not everyone thinks that. If you want to squat and deadlift, I can't believe I'm saying that. You don't need to have a strong back and abs. Your back and abs have to be stronger. That way, when you take weights off and you get in a weird position, not only can you hold the positions, but if something goes wonky, you can pull yourself out without getting hurt. So, Paul Hulk says, legs feed the wolf is one of my favorite movie quotes from the movie Miracle. I did not know that. Oh, all right. It's about that's with Kurt Russell. Vincent says, yeah, training never goes wasted. Yeah, even if you're doing something dumb, you're learning something, your body's getting challenged. You're exactly right. I'm not sure if that's exactly what you meant, Vincent. All right, here we go. I got to get moving here. Richard Arias Quintero says, a question when using straight leg deadlift with bench weights, how would I do with supplemental work, or would it not apply in straight leg deadlift? You wouldn't do it. Don't worry about it. Just do your 3 sets and make sure you're pushing hard. Yep. So I wouldn't worry about that. I'm not sure exactly that's what you're asking. I would just do those 3 sets. I'll be completely honest. Richard says, can you combine the straight leg deadlift with jumps and throws like the bench and the others in forever? Yeah, you can. Just be wary. Your hamstrings are going to be a little smoked. I'd probably do throws if I'm going to be completely honest. If I was doing straight leg deadlifts. Yes, so you can. I'm not sure I would be doing jumping though with it. Heavyweight. I appreciate that, buddy. You didn't have to do that though, but thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you, heavyweight. All right, here we go. Okay, Osiris, he had the crazy bear crawl workout. He writes, my workout buddy's brother was, 29 when he passed away. This is our 3rd time doing the workout. It's terrible. We do it September 10th every year. That's awesome, man. Good for you. It brings you guys together to get miserable. That's one of the best things about when Vincent and Rhodes come here. We always try to do something. We do some kind of personal training thing, and then we always try to do something miserable together. And a lot of times it's not horrible. Yes, it is. It's always horrible. Heavyweight says, hey, good morning, Jim. I hope this isn't a stupid question. I'll be the judge of that. I started the Cryptea style training and it's brutal. I absolutely love it. What should I stack with my conventional deadlift FSL work? I got everything else programmed, but do not want to affect the pull effort, but still keep a solid heart rate. So here's a couple ways. Personally, I would probably do what I like to do with the deadlift stuff, if I had my druthers, so to speak, I would do body weight, like push-ups or dips, and then some kind of chin-ups, which I know, listen, you're going to get those lats involved in your deadlifting, but the point of the Krypteia training is to raise your fitness level, not become Master Joe deadlifter. And I'm telling you, when you understand that, everything kind of opens up with that style of training, and you start not worrying about my deadlift numbers, and I worry about just making sure my technique is solid and I'm getting just in better shape. And then magically, when you, how do I put this, heavyweight? My goal, I always want the kids to get bigger and stronger, but I don't force it. We just do it because we're doing things right in the weight room. And I let the strength and the hypertrophy come because we're doing great work all the time. So if I were you, I would pick personally push-ups or dips. We sometimes use the overhead press for the heavier athletes that can't do that. And that's taxing too, right? Because you're standing, your back gets a little, but I don't worry about that because we're just trying to raise our level of overall fitness. And I don't know how else to put it. It's kind of weird. I don't get caught up in the numbers anymore. I get caught up in what the bar looks like and what the assistants look like. And then as you start to get in better shape, holy shit, we can start putting more weight on the bar, and the technique and form is better and better, and the speed's better, and holy shit, we can go up a little bit more, and holy shit, everyone's getting bigger. But it doesn't, you don't force it, you just do it right all the time, and I'm telling you, it works. And don't worry about keeping a solid heart rate up, just worry about getting through the workout. Everything is solid in the beginning, and then you can start pushing stuff. So, like when I work with some of the kids now, when we first started employing some of this with some of the kids who I haven't trained personally, we don't go bananas in the beginning. We gotta be a little careful. But then as they start getting better shape and understanding how to do all this and how their body feels, and it's not a big deal if something burns a little bit, right? The lats are on fire, so to speak, and they start getting used to that feeling, then everything just starts working itself out. So it's like, instead of like stressing about what grades you get in college, say like, listen, every day I'm going to review the notes from the class and I'm going to do some kind of 15 to 20 minutes of reading. I'll let the grade take care of itself. I'm going to hand my shit on time. I'm going to make sure I show up to class and sit in the front row. I'm going to make sure I take care of all the little stuff. And then whatever grade comes, I'll be fine because I know I put the work in. It's the same kind of idea. Suspense is killing me. Says, hey, what's up, boss? What would you recommend for products to use for taking care of lifting belts? I have never done anything with that. I just hang it up and it's all gross and chalky. So I don't know. I have never in a million years taken care of my lifting belt and I've never had a problem. But I've also had pretty good, quality belts too. So I apologize. I mean, you could put some, right, the stuff that they put on old mitts. Remember that? You can curl it up or pull it up and throw it underneath your bed or something. Put a ball in there. I don't know. That's what we used to do. I'm sure that's causes cancer. You can't leather a glove. It used to be a cow, and a cow is a human, right? Basically. So if you put leather on it, you're going to hurt its feelings. Oh my God, people got the turds. Just a lot of turds floating around. Everyone needs to flush them. All right, Heavyweight says, perfectly explained, Jim. I appreciate that. I felt like death after week 1 on everything. Yep, I understand. Okay, so VCAF stands for Agilius. Oh boy. Calfonsos. I am Greek and I spare you the effort to pronounce it. Well, I did anyway, and I'm sure I fucked it up, so I apologize. He writes, I really appreciate you sharing a treasure of training wisdom. Thank you for your contribution. I really do appreciate it. You don't have to do that. I'm here for you guys and all that other good stuff. Pass on the good words of training. All right. I appreciate everyone stopping by. It is 11:15. Me personally, I got to do my training. I am sweating like a madman. I shouldn't have worn my sweatshirt, but I did. Anyway, love you guys. Thank you guys. As always, check out the Jim Wendler Forum, $5 a month. A treasure trove of information and great people on there. It's not political. You don't have to do any of that crap. Appreciate everyone who watched, anyone who asked a question. As always, if you're doing some kind of awesome, dumb conditioning challenge, enjoy, but don't kill yourself. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.